As the game progressed, their form kept on deteriorating. And Hiro, who was all by himself, couldn't do anything at all. Once again he found himself in the same precarious situation, just like he did during the futsal tournament. Hiro took a peek at the faces of his teammates. Most of them showed no concern at all, and it looked like they had already given up on the match. However, Akashi's face said otherwise. He hadn't given up on the match. "Oh, there's still somebody who hasn't given up on the match," Hiro murmured. From the moment he landed his eyes on Akashi, he had every reason to keep a distance from him. Spiky hair, eyes shaped like fish, a face that looked extremely tensed, and to top it all, he had a very loud voice. Akashi's appearance and his manner of speech gave him the impression of the typical hot-headed guy that appears in most of the manga and anime. After conceding the second goal in less than 10 minutes, it was already difficult for them to make a comeback. But having an uncooperative teammate in the team made the matter even worse. Thus, even though he reluctantly wanted to keep a distance from Akashi, he didn't have any other choice but to depend on Akashi if he wanted to win the match. Beep. On the 15th minute of the game, they conceded another goal, and this time as well, he didn't even get to touch the ball. "Oi. Huh? What do you want, shorty?" Akashi replied in a harsh tone. He seemed extremely agitated. "Do you want to win the match?" "So what if I want to win the match? I can help you to win the match." "Go away. I'm not in the mood to joke." Akashi grunted and turned around. "Just pass me the ball once, and if I can't score the goal, then I'll play as a defender instead," Hiro yelled. However, Akashi didn't respond at all and went over to his position. Due to the unresponsiveness of Akashi, Hiro had no idea if he was willing to cooperate or not. Beep. Unsure about whether or not Akashi would cooperate with him, he had no choice but to trust him. With the sound of the whistle, Hiro kicked the ball backwards, towards Akashi instead of General. "Please pass me the ball. Please pass me the ball." As he dashed forward, he started to pray. He looked behind him to see whether the ball was coming towards him or not. To his surprise, the ball did come towards him. After he passed the ball towards Akashi, he dashed towards the opponent's goal without looking back, hoping he'd somehow get the ball back. After the ball was played towards Akashi, the opponent players rushed towards Akashi to steal the ball. Just then, as the opponent players were drawn towards Akashi, he kicked the ball hard towards the direction where Hiro was running. "Thank you, Akashi, for trusting me, but why'd I feel that he kicked the ball a little too hard? Wait, it'd definitely go out of bounds if I don't trap it in one touch." Even though Akashi did pass the ball to Hiro, he hit the ball a little too hard. However, Hiro still tried really hard to reach the ball. After attaining some height, the ball began to drop rapidly. Step, step, step. Making full use of his hamstrings and foot muscles, he sprinted towards the ball with all his might. However, he was still some distance away from the ball. And no matter how much he tried, to everyone it looked like that the ball would go out of bounds. Contrary to everybody's expectation, he leapt forward while stretching his right leg. Almost at the periphery of the boundary line, his toe touched the ball. The ball bounced behind him over his head as it touched his feet. What the F***? He saved that ball. Thwack. Even though he managed to save the ball by jumping towards the ball, he couldn't land properly on his feet and crashed against the protective net. The opponent defenders were still far away from the ball, and it would definitely take them some moment to reach the ball. Even though he crashed against the net, he instantly picked himself up and ran towards the ball. Besides him, the opponent keeper was the only other player who was close to the ball, and he didn't waste any time as well. Just like him, the opponent keeper rushed towards the ball as well. Both of them competed for the ball. It seemed like that the keeper would somehow block his course even though he'd get to the ball before the keeper. As the keeper ran towards the ball, he hid his arms behind his back to prevent any possible PK. Hiro was the first one to reach to the ball. However, the keeper caught up to him and stood in front of him to defend against him. Unlike the previous defenders he had faced before, the keeper didn't leave him any space to dribble. His defense looked extremely flawless. Being a keeper, he didn't open his legs, and he was conscious of his left and right side as well. "I don't see any space. What should I do now?" he began to wonder. Neither could he dribble the ball from his left nor from his right. The keeper had blocked all his route. Just where did a keeper like this come from? His defense is already on par with pros. But I don't remember him. Shouldn't this kind of keeper be playing in national team? For the first time in the match, he looked really anxious. Hiro couldn't figure out the identity of the keeper in front of him. Despite showcasing such an amazing talent, He hadn't heard about him in his previous life. Even Kurosawa Taki, who didn't let in a single shot during the futsal tournament, paled to the comparison of the keeper in front of him. Now I get it why the coach didn't play that tall keeper, he mumbled. While carefully moving the ball forward, he took a peek at the keeper's face. His eyes were glued on the ball at his feet, and he had completely blocked his route. He tried to perform a body feint to misguide the keeper, but the keeper didn't even react a bit. As if the keeper was aware of his tricks, he didn't show any reaction to his feints. Just then he noticed a gap between the keeper's legs. He tapped the ball lightly, but the keeper was quick to react. He lunged his left leg and closed the gap instantly. The keeper deliberately let a gap in his legs for Hiro to try to pass the ball between his legs. And just like he predicted, Hiro indeed tried to pass the ball between his legs. But to his surprise, the ball rolled over his head instead. Hiro kicked the ball lightly with his left leg, but before the ball reached the keeper's legs, he gently tapped beneath the ball with his right feet and chipped the ball above the keeper's head. The keeper, who was already on the ground, couldn't react to the uncertain move of Hiro and was left dumbfounded. Before the ball dropped, Hiro hit the ball in mid-air and scored a brilliant volley goal. Beep. Yeah. Woohoo. Unbelievable. Everybody in the pitch was stunned by his play. Nobody could believe their eyes. They looked at him with disbelief. Even his teammates were having a hard time to digest the fact that they had scored a goal against the senior team. While everybody were cheering, Hiro ran towards the post. He then took the ball out and ran towards the center of the pitch while carrying the ball. He didn't want to waste any time to cheer as his team was still down by 2 goals. Even though he scored a goal against the senior team, they were still losing the match by 3-1 score. You freaking did it! Akashi exclaimed in ecstasy. Yes, but we still need 3 more goals to win the match. Hiro replied. Yeah, that's right, we're going to win the match. Akashi clenched his fist and stretched his hand towards Hiro. What do you want? He inquired while looking at the fist of Akashi. Hiro didn't realize that Akashi simply wanted to do a fist bomb. Akashi didn't reply anything and kept on pointing his fist towards Hiro. Oh, I see. Hiro finally realized the meaning behind Akashi's gesture. He then gently tapped Akashi's fist with his fist and performed a fist bomb. Thwack. Let's score 3 more goals and win the match, he exclaimed as he placed the ball at the kickoff position. Beep. The opponent team started the kickoff. And from the moment they started the kickoff, they didn't make any mistakes. Unlike Hiro's team, their coordination was top-notch. Nobody among them acted selfish. They were all well organized, and every time his teammates would rush towards the ball, they would immediately pass the ball to other player. The game of cat and mouse continued for a while. The ball was the mouse and they were the cats. Every time they tried to take hold of the mouse would run away from them. As they tried to snatch the ball away from the senior players, they only exhausted themselves. Every single player in the senior team played so brilliantly that they couldn't even get near to the ball. Unable to snatch the ball, they began to man-mark every senior players. But man-marking only works when each and every individual is capable of stopping the respective players that they are man-marking. And in terms of overall ability, it was evident from the moment they stepped on the pitch that they lacked far behind to the senior players. Even though Hiro surpassed every other player in the field in terms of skills and potential, he couldn't do anything at all. Marking him as a threat, the senior players didn't even let him touch the ball. TCH, they're not even letting me touch the ball. Hiro clicked his tongue in frustration. The opponent players would pass the ball back to the keeper every time Hiro rushed towards the player with the ball. As if they were openly admitting that they couldn't take him by themselves, they took absolutely no chance against him. But even after passing the ball back to the keeper, they didn't try to waste time. Instead, the keeper would instantly pass the ball forward and initiate a counterattack. The keeper was playing the role of the anchor who'd control the tempo of the game. Hiro's teammates would once again prove to be absolutely useless against the senior players in terms of individual skills. As the keeper would kick the ball towards their goal, Sasaki would find it troublesome to stop the senior player. Ken would come out of his post to defend the ball and leave the post wide open. Taking advantage of the situation, the senior players would simply pass the ball between themselves to score in an open post instead of trying to dribble past the keeper. At the 34th minute of the match, Ken would once again make the same mistake of leaving the post as he did many times during the match. And it would nearly cost them another goal. However, Akashi would go on to block the ball with his face. After passing through Sasaki and Ken, the opponent player would shoot the ball in an open post, Just then Akashi would jump sideways and take the shot on his face. He would successfully manage to block the shot. The ball would then fall on Sasaki's feet after the rebound. Sasaki would quickly get cornered as the opponent's striker would rush towards him. Luckily Hiro, who dropped deep to defend against the opponent's attack, would find himself near to Sasaki. Despite being pressured by the opponent's striker, Sasaki would pass the ball to Hiro, and at 35th minute of the match Hiro would go on to score his second goal against the senior team. The senior team would continue with their tactic even after conceding the second goal. With that tactic of theirs, they would nearly seal the match at the last minute of the match with another goal. However, Goddess of Luck would do them real bad as the shot hit by their striker would go on to hit the goalpost, and once again they would concede another goal on rebound, which would cost them a crucial goal. With that final goal, the score of the match would read as such: Team Senior 3 Team Newbie 3. The game would end up in tie, and just like that, Hiro would go on to score 3 goals against the senior team and help his team to pull out a draw against the senior team. After the end of the match, later in that day at around 9:47 p.m. Arg. Such a tiring day. While lying on his bed, he tried to recall the events which took place during the day. I need to work on my off-the-ball movements. After analyzing his play, he noticed a fatal flaw in his playstyle. Even though he was phenomenal when he had the ball in his feet, he sucked really bad during the moment when he didn't have the ball in his feet. Just by keeping him away from the ball, the senior players were able to completely nullify him. What do the star players do when they don't have the ball in their feet? He began to wonder. He tried to recall as much information of the future as possible. In his mind he played several matches and tried to analyze the movements of the world's best players. But since the camera never focused solely on the individual, he couldn't get much information from the several matches he analyzed in his mind. However, while he was recalling about the playstyle of the several world-class player, he noticed something. Even though it looked extremely trivial, but each and every player he analyzed in his mind had one thing in common. They were always in search of space, and they always positioned themselves in the space where the probability of getting the ball was maximum. Andreas Messi would always turn his head in search of the most optimal route towards the goal. Christian Romero would always look for the space where he can get the ball. Even if they didn't have the ball in their feet, they'd always be searching and scanning. The world-class players would always be in search of the space and weakness to exploit. Okay, I'll work on my off-the-ball movements before the first prefectural match. He mumbled. After analyzing countless matches, he fell asleep. Even though he wanted to analyze more matches, his young body couldn't keep up with his thinking. On top of playing a match, he also completed the daily mission given by the system. The first prefectural match of the national tournament was about a month away, and within 2 weeks, they would find out their first opponent. Since the tournament was played in a knockout format, there was no second chance. The tournament was all or nothing. March 25, 2015, a week before the commencement of the All Japan Interschool Football Tournament. The day when the tie sheet of the tournament would get published. As usual, players of Ukami Elementary School were going through a rough training session in preparation for the tournament. Just then assistant coach Honda made his way towards the pitch while carrying some papers in his hands. Beep. With the sound of the whistle, everybody stopped the training. The sudden stoppage of the training confused everybody. All right, everyone gather up. Honda-san commanded everybody to gather around, and with that announcement everybody started to gather around the coaches. Is it for the tie sheet? Players began to question each other. While they gathered around the coach, Coach Miura started to speak. The tie sheet for the tournament is out. Pay attention now, as I'll be announcing our first opponent and I'll also be announcing the starting players for the tournament. With that announcement, everybody started to get anxious. While there were few people on the pitch who maintained their composure and didn't seem bothered by the revelation. Most of the players seemed extremely flustered and anxious. Please God, let me make it to the team. I'd be satisfied even if I can play as a substitute. The players started to chatter among themselves. Silence. Honda-san yelled. After that nobody dared to make a single noise. Before I announce the name of the team which we'll be playing against, I've got a good news and a bad news. Good news is that just like our school, we'll be facing against a newbie school who have entered the tournament for the first time in our first match and... Woohoo! Before the coach could even finish his sentence, the players started to cheer very loudly. They celebrated as if they had already won the first match of the tournament. Silence. Let the coach finish his sentence first. Once again Honda-san yelled at them. Sigh, don't celebrate too early. The bad news is that we're placed in the same group as Karasuno Elementary School. Huh? What? The smiles on their face quickly faded away as they heard about the announcement made by Coach Miura that they were placed in the same group as Karasuno Elementary School. Okay. Let's keep it low for now. We've prepared enough, so let's believe in our efforts. Coach Miura tried to raise the morale of the players, which was already crumbling just after hearing that they've been placed in the same group as one of the favorites of the tournament. After that, Coach Miura gestured Honda-san to come closer and whispered something in his ear softly. As soon as Coach Miura finished his sentence, Honda-san stormed outside the pitch. Before we end our training, I'll announce the players who are going to be our starting 11. Those whose names are called, step forward. In goal we have Mark Wado from Class 6B and Kobayashi Endo from Class 4C. Kobayashi Endo was the same keeper who he had faced against during the match between the senior team and the junior team. Unlike Mark, Endo was kinda short. Endo was about the same height as Hiro. However, his reflexes were top-notch. His playstyle was similar to that of Iker Casillas. Center backs: Daichi Kamada from Class 4B, Shinsuke Nagora from Class 3A, Yamamoto Keisuke from Class 5B, Yamazaki Kento from Class 6A, and finally Nobara Akashi from Class 1C. Right backs: Gagamaru Jin from Class 2A and Iori Sato from Class 3B. Left backs: Wataru Lemon from Class 5A and Kusakabe Su from Class 6B. Midfielders: Ito Rin from Class 4B, Kosei Otsuka from Class 3B, Ashime Suzuki from Class 5A, Asahi Kuon from Class 6B, Ryosuke Ron from Class 6A, and finally Takahashi Hiro from Class 1B. Forwards: Sohei Sato from Class 6B, Suzuki Shiro from Class 4A, and finally Kurosaki Kuro from Class 3B. All of these players have been selected as the starting players for the tournament ahead, but the list could change anytime, so don't take your position for granted. Even those whose names were not called today have an equal chance to make it into the team. So don't feel sad about it, do you understand? The players whose names were not called looked extremely gloomy. Some even started to cry in the pitch, while some started to whine and complain. Why are those first years selected and not us? One of the senior player complained, because you lack the skill. Coach Miura bluntly stated the truth in his face. And those who are not satisfied with my decisions are free to leave the team. To control the tantrums of the unselected players, Coach Miura announced that anyone who was not satisfied with his decision was allowed to leave the club. So are you going to leave the club? He then pointed his finger at the senior player who was throwing a tantrum. The senior player quietly took a step back and shut his mouth. After that, nobody dared to speak anything against his decision. The team mostly consisted of the senior players, and the only first years who even got the shot at the starting 11 were only Akashi and Hiro. After the commotion, the coach adjourned the training. Everybody aside from the starting players were advised to leave the pitch. And as everybody aside from the starting players left the pitch, Coach Miura commanded the starting players to follow him. I can't believe I made it to the team, Akashi whispered in excitement while following the coach. Even though he was only whispering, due to his loud voice everybody around them could hear him. Shish. Don't make noise. Hiro insisted Akashi to keep his mouth shut. Why is he taking us into the hall? Akashi questioned as the coach stopped before the auditorium. Coach Miura took them inside the auditorium. Inside the auditorium, in front of the stage, a projection was being displayed by a projector on a huge white cloth hung in front of the stage. Seeing the projection, everybody bewilderingly stared at the projection ahead. Are we going to watch a movie? Akashi exclaimed in ecstasy. No, you idiot. We're probably here for some video analysis. Video analysis? What is that? While most people would avoid Akashi for his appearance and manner of speech, surprisingly Hiro and Akashi had many things in common with each other. After the first match, Akashi approached him daily and tried to converse with him. At first Hiro felt awkward around him and brushed him off by giving him one-word answers. He expected that he'd stop eventually, but contrary to his expectations, Akashi approached him daily without missing a single day. He'd approach him while heading home. He'd approach him in the cafeteria while eating. He'll even try to converse with him while going to toilet. Even though Akashi followed him basically everywhere, he didn't detect any ill motive from him, and he could feel that he genuinely wanted to befriend him. However, Hiro, who was already 27 years from the inside, thought of Akashi as a little kid instead of a friend. But he didn't want to decline his genuine intentions as well. And thus he befriended Akashi in the end, giving in to his persistence. Although he talked with Akashi as a friend, he considered him more like a little brother than his friend. Okay. Now, everybody pay attention. Coach Miura spoke while standing in front of the stage. Now I'll be discussing our tactics, so don't get distracted. Coach Miura then started to discuss tactics with the starting players. The formation they were going to play in the tournament was 4-4-2 diamond. With 2 forwards at the top, 4 midfielders and 4 defenders. Hiro was assigned the role of attacking midfielder. Even though Akashi got selected in the team, he wasn't selected in the starting 11. And in that whole lineup, Hiro was the sole first year. Around the time when the coach revealed the starting 11, he could vividly feel the cold gazes of the senior players. But those gazes weren't the gaze of jealousy, instead it was a gaze initiating a competition. Hiro, even though you'll be playing as an attacking midfielder, I want you to drop deep to receive the ball and play as a deep-lying playmaker. Do you understand? Yes, sir. The coach wanted Hiro to play as a deep-lying playmaker and dominate the midfield. And just like that, after explaining the tactics to the players who were selected for the tournament, Coach Miura adjourned the meeting. Lucky you, you'll get to play in the starting 11. While they were changing their clothes, Akashi playfully punched him. What's lucky about it? Do you think that I don't deserve my role? Hiro returned the punch and questioned Akashi. Don't joke. I don't know who'll deserve it, if not you. But even though I've been drafted into the official team, I don't know if coach will even use me or not. Akashi frowned. Don't worry, you'll definitely get your opportunity, so keep on improving. Also, you're much softer than you appear. Ha ha ha. Hiro chuckled as he consoled Akashi. Ka. By the time they finished dressing up, the sun was already on the verge of setting down. Far in the horizon, as the flocks of ravens flew right in front of the setting sun, the slanting rays of the setting sun gave a warm orange tinge to the sky. And as he was immersing himself into the picturesque landscapes around him, a silhouette of a person became vivid at a certain distance away from the gate. Unable to take his gaze away from the ethereal scenery in front of him, he kept on staring at the familiar person ahead. Just then a warm gust of gentle sea breeze knocked the sun hat from her head. She then turned around to pick her fallen hat, and as she picked her hat, she looked at him and she stretched her arms out while revealing a gentle smile. Let's go home, she spoke in a soft tone. The bright rays of sun coming from behind her blinded him. But even so, he could vividly see her face. Dressed in a white one-piece, the warm rays of setting sun further highlighted her beautiful facial features. Until this day, he never realized just how beautiful his mother was. After the death of his father, she lost the glow in her face from overexertion. And as time passed, her once beautiful face started developing wrinkles. While he was complaining about his life, she worked overtime to make sure he was well fed, working multiple jobs, paying the bills, taking care of his studies and footballing needs. She never complained once. As he was staring at her beautiful face, a particular memory flashed before his eyes. When he was 17 years old, just after finishing high school. While playing football with his friends, his teammates started to show off their new cleats which their parents bought for them, for graduating high school. Being quite young, he couldn't help but feel jealous. And due to jealousy, he too asked his mother to buy him new cleats. She sternly declined his request, but he kept on pestering her to buy new cleats despite her refusal. While she was already having troubles with paying the bills, he only added fuel to the burning fire by pestering her to buy a new cleat for him. While he was stubbornly asking for new cleats, he didn't even notice that she had been wearing the same clothes for years and years. He couldn't even remember when was the last time that he had seen her in new clothes. Be it some special occasions or even his graduation, she never bought anything for herself, but yet still she provided him with everything that he needed. Even though she couldn't fulfill all his desires, she still fulfilled most of his needs. Reminiscing such moments made him regret about his course of actions. He felt guilty. While she provided him with everything, he couldn't do anything for her. He couldn't even buy a new set of clothes for her for all those years. Suddenly his heart felt heavy and his eyes moistened. Without even realizing, tears started welling down his eyes. He then ran towards her with eyes full of tears, and as he got close to her, he threw himself in her arms and hugged her tightly. Ari, what's the matter? Did something happen in school? She asked while gently stroking his back with her hands. However, he didn't reply anything at all. He only tightened his grip as she stroked his back. He must have not been selected for the team, she guessed. It's all right, We'll try another time. She tried to console him. Finally, after some time, he loosened his grip. Shall we head home now? She asked as he loosened his grip. But still, he didn't reply anything at all. She tried to shake him off, but there was no reaction from him whatsoever. Just then his arms fell down involuntarily. Did he fell asleep? She chuckled as she carried him up. And indeed he had fallen asleep in her arms. Even though he fell asleep, she didn't wake him up and instead carried him all the way to the station. Did he fell asleep? His father questioned as they exited the train. While he was sleeping peacefully in her arms inside the train, his mother phoned his father and informed about his condition to his father. She then asked him to pick them up in the station. Shish. Don't talk loudly. Let him sleep, she whispered. Okay. Okay. He whispered back. His father took him from her arms and carried him. The training must have been really exhausting today. Takashi whispered. I guess so. As if he was unconscious, he didn't even notice when he fell asleep. His parents carried him carefully from the school to home without waking him up. At 1:43 a.m. later in the night, as he woke up from his dream, he found himself lying in his bed. When did I get here? He mumbled as he woke up in the night. Where is Mom? The last thing I remember is hugging her in front of the school gate. Was everything perhaps a dream? He bewilderingly questioned. Growl. All of a sudden, his stomach started to make weird noises. Why'd I feel hungry all of a sudden? He hadn't eaten anything since lunchtime. To let him sleep peacefully, his parents didn't wake him up for dinner. He then got out from his bed and started to walk towards the kitchen. There must be something in the refrigerator, he mumbled as he tried to open up the refrigerator. Expecting he might wake up and feel hungry, his parents had stored a cake and apple juice in the refrigerator. Whoa! There's cake today. He was baffled by the sight of cake in the refrigerator. Rarely his mother let him eat sweet things. She considered sweets unhealthy and therefore forbade him to eat sweets. Cake being a sweet was no exception as well. Nom. Nom. I must have passed out in her arms. He mumbled while chewing the cake. He couldn't think of anything else beside passing out in her arms to explain why he couldn't remember anything after hugging her. While reminiscing of the moment before he passed out, he remembered about the things he thought while hugging her. And once again those thoughts saddened him. Yosh! Let's earn a lot of money and buy her everything she desires. He yelled enthusiastically. Bark! Bark! The dogs in the neighborhood started to bark listening to his loud yells in the middle of the night. Ops! Gotta keep it low or else it won't end up good if Mom finds me awake. He mumbled as he chugged the bottle of juice in a single gulp. After eating, he headed towards his bed. He closed his eyes, but he couldn't sleep for some reason. Unable to sleep, he started to think of ways to make money. Even though I know the future events, I can't make use of it. I only know of the major events which will take in football. And I can't even remember most of the Champions League finals. But even knowing those events won't change anything at all. After all, betting is illegal in Japan. And even if it were legal, I wouldn't be allowed to bet. After all, I'm still too young. Human mind is programmed in such a way that it forgets most of the things if there's no repetition whatsoever, as time progresses. So it was only natural for Hiro to forget most of the event which took place because it had been a lot of time since he last remembered those events. The events like Champions League finals and other matches which happened a long time ago, he couldn't remember it even if he wanted to remember. So betting is out of our list to make money. What if I write novels? Another idea flashed in his mind. Aw shit. Right? I never read a novel before. I should have listened to my friends back then. He exasperated. In his previous life, many teammates in his team suggested him to read novels, but he never paid any attention to novels and brushed off their suggestions. What if I teach football? He thought of teaching football as a means of earning money, but he forgot that he himself was still a child, once again. Aw shit. Right? Who'd want to learn football from a 6-year-old? Ha ha ha. He laughed awkwardly. Arg. I can't think of anything. Just how the hell should I make money? He screamed in frustration. Even after thinking for a while, he couldn't come up with any means of making money. He was too young to make money legally. Arg. Let's just forget about making money for now and focus on football. Finally, he gave up on the thoughts of making money after failing to come up with ideas to make money. Just what time is it now? He reached for his drawer beside his bed to take out his phone. Just as he reached for his phone, something sparked in his mind. Phone. Just as he was about to give up on the thoughts of making money, Something sparked in his mind as he took hold of his phone. What if I start making content related to football and post it on social media sites? I'm sure that I can get tons of views since I'm still a kid. And people love kids demonstrating something extraordinary. It might take some time, but I've got plenty of time in my hands right now. So given the situation, it's the perfect idea for making money. And if I'll get lucky, professional scouts might take notice of me as well, which will further help me with my goals. But I'll probably need someone to take my videos. Just when he finally thought of a good idea to make money, he encountered another problem. He was really bad at making videos. Aside from playing football, he didn't have any talent at all. And football was the only thing he was good at. What if I ask my parents to do it for me? He wondered. They'll probably decline my request. They're busy with their jobs, so I'll have to think of someone else. But for now, let's sleep. Ring. 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 The sound of the alarm clock woke him up early in the morning at 5 a.m. It's morning already? I want to sleep a little more. He exclaimed in half-asleep state. Even though he wanted to sleep a little more, he woke up regardless. For past few months, it had been his daily routine to wake up early in the morning to train. 247, 248, 249 and finally 250. Why is that kid shooting ball early in the morning? One of the passerby inquired. Maybe he's training to become a professional football player. Another passerby replied. Oh, that kid. It must be your first time jogging out here. For past 7 or 8 months he have been coming to the park daily with his ball and training all by himself. He's pretty much dedicated. Another passerby who was jogging in the park interrupted the two passerby's conversation. While kids his age are sleeping right now, he's here working hard for his dreams. His parents must be really proud of him. Alas, if only my kids were as hardworking as him. An old lady who was jogging in the park joined in the discussion between all those previous passerbys. Even though he was still a kid, his neighborhood was quite safe for kids to go out early in the morning. And even though he used to get up early in the morning, as soon as he used to reach home after exercising he'd throw himself in bed and fall asleep instantly. Today wasn't any different as well. As soon as he got home, he knocked himself into the bed and fell asleep. Wake up, hero. Wake up fast or else you'll be late for school. His mother yelled. Arg, let me sleep a little more. He replied in his sleepy voice and pulled the blanket over his head and covered himself wholly. However, she kept on shaking him to wake him up. Seeing his stubbornness to wake up, she pulled the blanket in one fell swoop. And as usual, once again he got scolded by his mother. As if his day would turn out incomplete without her early morning nagging, it had kinda become something like a ritual for him to wake up to her nagging every morning. Slam. As usual, you're late. While walking towards his classroom, Akashi smacked his back playfully. Oh. Yeah, I woke up kinda late today. Hiro replied while rubbing his back with his hands. Did you watch yesterday's El Clasico? Akashi inquired. It was yesterday? Hiro bewilderingly replied. Just like Hiro, Akashi loved to watch European football. Surely this time Real Madrid's gonna win both La Liga and Champions League. Akashi proudly exclaimed. Akashi was a supporter of Real Madrid and idolized Cristian Romero, who played for Real Madrid. Having the knowledge of the future, he knew exactly who'd win the titles, and 2015 was the season of Barcelona. They'd go on to win La Liga, Copa del Rey and Champions League in that season. Dream on. It's gonna be Barcelona who'll win both La Liga and Champions League. Hiro replied back. With that reply, both of them got into an argument. Most of the time, they got along pretty well with each other, but every time the topic of their favorite club was brought, they used to get into an argument. Even though Hiro was quite mature from inside, he would still argue when the topic of the club he supported was brought onto the table. You kids, don't you have classes? One of the faculty members yelled while they were arguing with each other in the hallway. Hearing his yell, both of them headed towards their respective classrooms. Later in the evening, after the daily training ended, while they were preparing to head home, Hiro called out for Akashi. Akashi, don't you want to improve your game? Hiro inquired. I do want to improve my gameplay, but I don't know how to improve my gameplay. Akashi frowned. I can help you with it, but you need to help me with something as well. Hiro proposed a deal to Akashi. In return for teaching him football, Hiro wanted Akashi to shoot his videos. Akashi reluctantly agreed to his proposal. Since he knew what Hiro was capable of, he didn't doubt his ability to teach him football. And just like that, both of them agreed to help each other. New quest unlocked. Help Akashi to make his debut in the tournament. Reward on completion. Golden ticket, punishment on failure, deduction of random stat. A quest unlocked all of a sudden. The reward is very tempting, but the punishment is really harsh as well. All of a sudden, a quest unlocked. And surprisingly, the system offered a golden roulette ticket for the reward on completion. He does have potential, but I'm sure he won't get to play in the first match, and if we lose the first match, the quest is basically all over. Why are you staring at me like that? Akashi inquired. Without even realizing, he was contemplatively staring at Akashi with a weird expression in his face. I was thinking of how I can grind you. Grind me? Yeah, I was thinking of the training method to help you improve, hehe. Hiro revealed evil smirk as he finished his sentence. Somehow I'm having ill omen about this. Akashi gulped his saliva. Okay, then let's meet at school ground this Saturday at 5 p.m. School ground? But will the teacher even allow us to use the school ground during holiday? Akashi questioned. During holidays, nobody was allowed to use the school facilities. However, Hiro, who was sponsored by the school, was allowed to use the ground even during holidays. Don't worry about that, just meet me at the ground this Saturday at 5 p.m. Hiro assured. And just like that, Akashi agreed to shoot videos of Hiro in exchange for teaching him football. Fast forward to Saturday, Hiro made Akashi to shoot the ball 500 times. However, he couldn't even shoot 200 times. Everything went well at first, but as he progressed forward, Akashi's legs got heavy and he couldn't even lift his legs properly. Hiro made him do the sets of exercises given by the system. But unlike Hiro, Akashi couldn't even complete 3 sets of the exercises. And as per the deal between them, Akashi shot Hiro's videos after the training. Later at night, Hiro was fiddling around with his phone while lying in his bed. Now then, what should I name the channel? Hiro started to wonder about the name of his channel. He was going to upload the video shot by Akashi in his YouTube channel, but he couldn't think of a name for his channel. It should work. The name of my channel will be. After thinking for a while, he decided to name his channel as Soccer Wizard. Although the name sounded a little bit childish, yet he was quite proud of the name he had selected. Since football was mostly referred to as soccer in Japan, he chose soccer instead of football, even though he preferred football more. And even though he never believed in magic in his previous life, he had somehow magically regressed back in time. And since he had also gained a system, he considered himself something like a magician. That's why he decided to add wizard to the name of the channel. And with this, my channel is created, he exclaimed with a smile on his face. Watch your back, Mr. Beast. I'm gonna be the most subscribed YouTuber. Ha 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 ha. He laughed maniacally. Oh right, but that's not my goal. He came to a sudden realization and the smile on his face faded away. My goal is to become the best footballer in the planet, and I'm only uploading videos as a means of making money for a short while. So I'll pass on becoming the most subscribed YouTuber. Consider yourself lucky, Mr. Beast, that I'm not doing YouTube seriously. You can keep your title, consider it my gift to you. He finished his sentence with a smug look on his face. He exclaimed as if he was doing a favor to Mr. Beast by not taking YouTube seriously. He was too haughty. Now that the channel is established, I should post my video. But what should I name the title? After creating his YouTube channel, he was about to post his video, but he couldn't think of a suitable title for the video. Little boy playing football? Nah. Juggling the ball for 500 times without dropping? Nah. Just what should I name the title? He exasperated. He couldn't come up with any decent name for the title. He kept on pondering over the name for the title. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't think of anything decent. Arg. Just why is it so hard to come up with a decent name for the title? Failing to come up with a decent name for the title, even after thinking for a while, he started to get frustrated. Just then he threw his phone aside and laid down on the bed with his face facing upwards. Right. I should make use of the knowledge of the future and decide the names which can act as a clickbait so that I can get a lot of views. As he was laying down on the bed, a sudden thought penetrated his mind. He then grabbed his phone and began to type. I scored 500 goals from 500 free kicks. After coming up with a title for his video, he posted his video and slept early. Hiro. Are you still asleep? His mother made her way towards his room while yelling. But just as she entered his room, her eyes widened in shock. Oh, you're awake? She was shocked to find him awake. Usually he'd be sleeping around the time she walked into his room. But today he was awake, and not only was he awake, he was already dressed as well. Yeah, it's the match day today, he replied while packing his jersey. Match day? Isn't it holiday today? She mumbled. Yeah, match day. The prefectural tournament begins today. Didn't I already tell you about it? He replied. You did. But why are you going? I mean, you aren't even selected for the team. So why are you going? She bewilderingly questioned. Huh, who told you that I wasn't selected? He replied. Then why were you crying previously? What do you mean by crying? He stammered upon remembering the embarrassing moment when he cried in her arms. She noticed his flustered face and decided to change the topic. So you're selected for the team? Yeah, I'm the starting player. Where will the match take place? She questioned. It's gonna take place in the community football stadium. The preliminaries will be held at the local football stadium, and the matches from round of 16 to semi-final will take place at the stadium of Sakura FC Football Club. And finally, the final match of the prefectural tournament will be held at one of the national stadium where the international games are played. After packing his bags, his mother dropped him off in school. Even thought the game started at 10 a.m., all of the starting players were required to show up in school before 8 a.m. to discuss tactics. Here comes our soccer wizard. Akashi greeted Hiro as he entered the auditorium. Just then all of the players started to congratulate him all of a sudden. Hiro couldn't figure out why they were congratulating him for no reason. What's the occasion today? Why am I getting congratulated all of a sudden? Hiro was baffled by the sudden burst of congratulations. Coach Miura kept his cool and commanded everybody to get seated. After that nobody dared to speak a single word. And then he began to explain the tactics. We'll be playing Endo as the sweeper keeper and Hiro will be playing as a deep-lying playmaker. For this tactics to work out, we need to get Hiro involved with the ball as much as we can. Did everybody understand what I'm trying to say? Yes, sir, everybody shouted. Okay, then let's win the game today and progress forward. The coach ended the discussion after carefully explaining the tactics to everybody present in the auditorium. Then all of them started to board on the school bus to leave for the venue where the match was going to take place. Since Ukami Elementary School was a private school, it owned quite a number of school buses. And in fact many of the students who studied at Ukami Elementary School commuted to and from school via school buses. Hiro couldn't take advantage of the facility provided by the school bus because of the remoteness of his neighborhood. The school buses didn't operate to his neighborhood because of the lack of students who studied in Ukami Elementary School from his neighborhood. And even though he was sponsored by the school, they couldn't still operate the school buses to his neighborhood for him alone. That's why he used to commute to the school via train. While they were commuting towards the venue of the match, Hiro looked at Akashi to inquire him about the earlier incident. But Akashi didn't seem well. He kept his eyes closed and lips sealed. He covered his mouth with one of his hands and grabbed his stomach with his other hand. He was suffering from motion sickness. Seeing him in that condition, he decided it would be better to keep his mouth shut for the time being. After commuting for about 15 minutes, they reached the venue where the match was going to take place. As soon as the bus stopped and opened its door, Akashi stormed outside. Yua! Akashi started to puke. However, he couldn't puke anything beside liquid. His stomach was completely empty. There wasn't even a single solid substance in his stomach to make its way outside his mouth. Coach, I'll catch up in a while, he exclaimed while looking at the coach. The coach took a peek at Akashi's condition and agreed to his request. Okay. But come fast. The coach and other players started to head inside the stadium. However, assistant coach Honda decided to stay back to keep an eye on them. Here, have some water. Hiro handed a bottle of water to Akashi. Yua. Thanks for the water. After drinking some water, Akashi felt a little better. His complexion returned back to normal and his puking stopped as well. Are you all right? Hiro inquired. Yeah, then shall we head inside? Akashi nodded his head. They started to head inside the venue. Since it was their first time in that venue, they didn't know where to go. And if not for Honda-san, they'd have directly entered the pitch without even changing their clothes. They managed to find the changing room with Honda-san's assistance. The opening ceremony is about to begin, so change your clothes ASAP. The coach exclaimed. Except Hiro and Akashi, everybody in their team had changed their clothes. Without uttering a single word, both of them got dressed instantly. Akashi, how did you know about the name of my YouTube channel? I'm sure that I haven't told you about it. Oh, about that you're quite famo. You too, keep quiet. It's our turn to enter the pitch. Coach Miura interrupted as Akashi was about to say something. And as they made their way towards the pitch, Hiro noticed something unusual. There were surprisingly a lot more spectators in the stand, even though the tournament was an elementary school level tournament. There were about 700 to 800 people in the stand. That number was very huge for something like an opening ceremony of a prefectural tournament for elementary school kids. In comparison to previous year's opening ceremony, which recorded about 100 spectators, current estimation of 700 to 800 spectators was astronomical. "Why is there so many people in the stand?" Hiro whispered. "For you? Huh, I didn't quite get that. You seriously don't know about anything?" Akashi inquired, bewilderingly. To his inquiry, Hiro simply shook his head. About 32 schools participated in the tournament that year. And those 32 teams were further divided into 8 groups, with each group consisting 4 teams. Again, the 8 groups were further divided into 2 segments, with each segment containing 4 groups each. And due to the large number of schools, that year's tournament was going to be played in the World Cup format. However, instead of a league format for the group matches were going to be played in knockout format as well. Whoa! There's a lot of team participating in the tournament this year. Hiro mumbled. Indeed, there's a lot of team participating in the tournament this year. But the favorites remains the same, Karasuno Elementary School and Rondon Elementary School. And even worst, we're placed in the same group as Karasuno Elementary School. Just why God? Akashi whined. Just as the announcer called out the name of the final team to participate in the tournament, someone from that team caught his attention. The final team to walk into the pitch was none other than Rondon Elementary School. The same school which once tried to recruit him. And the person who caught his attention was none other than Kurosawa Taki. Hiro was left dumbfounded by the sight of Kurosawa Taki. Hiro! Hiro! Akashi called out for him, but there was no response from him. He kept on staring at Kurosawa Taki. Yeah, he stammered upon coming back to his senses. "Are you all right?" "Yeah, I'm fine. Perhaps, did you see a ghost?" "Huh? Hell no. Why do you ask such absurd questions?" "Well, I mean, you looked kinda lost to me, so I wondered if you saw a ghost." "It's nothing like that, let's just focus on the announcement ahead." Hiro shrugged off Akashi's curiosity. "But I don't get one thing. There are so many teams participating in the tournament. So how will we complete all those matches today?" Akashi inquired. "I'm sure that the coach had explained us about that previously. Didn't you pay any attention to his words when he was explaining about the tournament fixtures?" Hiro replied while contorting his face. Haha, I must have missed that information." Akashi smiled awkwardly. Group A, B, C and Group D's first matches will be played today in 4 different venues. Group E, F, G and Group H's matches will be played tomorrow respectively. So in total a total of 8 matches will be played today, and another 8 match will be played tomorrow." Hiro exclaimed. "Huh, there's 3 more venues beside this stadium?" Akashi questioned. "Yeah, there are 3 more venues beside this stadium. Since all the teams were required to gather at one place before the start of the tournament, every team participating in the tournament are gathered at this venue for the commencement of the tournament." After the announcement ended, the first match of the tournament between Karasuno Elementary School and Tokushima-ji Elementary School was about to begin. And the rest of the teams headed towards their respective venue as well. Hiro's team, being in the same group as Karasuno Elementary School, remained seated in the stadium while awaiting their match. Their match would begin right after the end of the match between the Karasuno Elementary School and Tokushima-ji Elementary School. Beep. The referee has blown his whistle and the 15th annual prefectural tournament officially begins. The announcer announced the commencement of the tournament. With that announcement, the stadium was filled with the cheers of the spectators. Most of the spectators consisted of the parents of students who were taking part in the competition. There were few local reporters in the stand along with the general publics. Goal. That's why they are one of the favorites of the tournament. Karasuno Elementary School opened up the scoresheet with a goal in the 17th minute of the game. The stand where the students of Karasuno Elementary School were seated burst out with cheers as they scored the goal. Before the end of the half-time, they scored another goal. The first half of the match was pretty much one-sided, with Karasuno Elementary School dominating both the position and shots on target. The second half was no different than the first half. Tokushima-ji Elementary School got completely battered by Karasuno Elementary School as they went on to win the match by an astronomical score of 5-0. Even though every players in Karasuno Elementary School displayed an amazing performance individually, one player stood out among the rest. the player with a number 7 on his back. Contrary to his diminutive figure, he played as a striker and scored 2 headers. Almost everybody in the stand questioned every time when an airball was played to him. They all thought that he wouldn't be able to reach the ball and he'd get swallowed by the tall defenders of Tokushima J Elementary School. But contrary to everybody's expectation, he proved everyone wrong with his incredible vertical jump and lightning speed. He silenced all the critiques with his gameplay. Short black messy hair, suntanned brunette skin and height that was barely 3.5 feet, his explosive jumps reached the ball which even the tall defenders of Tokushima J Elementary School struggled to reach. On the 17th minute of the game, one of his teammates played a razor-sharp through ball which couldn't be reached by anybody besides him. Making use of his explosive pace, he opened up the score with a banger. Everybody thought that his only weapon was his speed, but soon he proved everybody wrong by scoring 2 more goals in the second half. And surprisingly both of those goals happened to be headers. Whoa! What an amazing way to kick off the tournament. Karasuno Elementary School completely obliterated Tokushima J Elementary School and won the match with 5-0 score. And even more amazing was the performance of the player Shinji Shoyo, the player of Karasuno Elementary School with the number 7 on his back. He scored a hat-trick in his first match. If he keeps on scoring like this in other matches, he'd surely score more than 10 goals by the end of the tournament. Damn! How will we face against Karasuno Elementary School? Akashi started to get flustered all of a sudden. Did you already forget that we still have a match to play? Before facing against them we need to get through this hurdle first. Hiro replied. Okay team, it's our turn to play. We'll play just like we've practiced. Just keep your calm and play without getting anxious. Coach Miura exclaimed as they were about to enter the pitch. And the second match of the Group A is between Ukami Elementary School and Public Youth Elementary School. Surprisingly both of these teams are new to the nationals. And even more surprising is the fact that both of these new teams are facing against each other in their debut match. Public Youth Elementary School is going for a 5-3-2 formation which emphasizes more on defense, and Ukami Elementary School is going to play in a 4-4-2 diamond formation which focuses more on the offense. So who'll come out victorious? Will defense win the game or will offense win the game? It's a show-off between defense and offense. Beep. The second game of Group A between Ukami Elementary School and Public Youth Elementary School commenced with the sound of referee's whistle. As referee blew his whistle, Kuro passed the ball to Sato. The opponent team, instead of pushing forward, dropped back from the moment of kickoff. Huh? Is this some kind of new tactic? The players of Public Youth Elementary School are dropping deep right from the beginning of the kickoff. They aren't even coming out of their own half to win the ball. As the opponent team dropped deep, they couldn't take the ball forward recklessly. However, since they were a new team, the opponent team didn't have any information regarding Ukami Elementary School's team. And hence they were not aware of one crucial information. Hiro was a fantasista whose speciality was to break through solid defense line just like Public Youth Elementary School's defense. And since most of the players in the Public Youth Elementary School stayed close to each other, Hiro could easily dribble past their defenders one after the other. Number 10 from Ukami Elementary School is charging the ball forward without any fear. Hiro began to dribble the ball forward. As he dribbled the ball forward, the opponent players were forced to come out of their respective zones to defend against him. Upon seeing him charging forward, one of the offensive player recklessly dashed towards him in an attempt to snatch the ball away from him. However, before he could even attempt to stretch his legs forward, Hiro dribbled past him. While charging towards Hiro, he left his legs wide open and Hiro took full advantage of the gap between his legs. Just as he approached near to Hiro, he kicked the ball between his legs and nutmegged him. The nutmeg happened so fast that he didn't even realize he was nutmegged. That was a beautiful nutmeg from the number 10 of Ukami Elementary School. Ha ha ha, and it looks like the number 9 of Public Youth Elementary School is still in daze. Ha 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 ha. The look on the face of number 9 was a sight to behold. An anonymous spectator cheerfully exclaimed. Just like the commentator, a lot of people in the stand were laughing at that ridiculous nutmeg from Hiro. After effortlessly passing through that number 9, he was faced with even more defenders of the opposing team. But since they came out of their respective zones to defend against him, several spaces were left open. While making use of those spaces, Hiro passed the ball forward towards Sato. However, the defenders of the Public Youth Elementary School were quick to react to his passes. As soon as the ball was released from his legs, they began to run towards Sato. In the right wing, Sato was about to shoot the ball, but he paused as he witnessed the opposing defenders closing towards him. While the opposing defenders were rushing towards Sato, they completely forgot about Hiro. Sato faked his shot and passed the ball straight in the middle. For a moment it seemed that the ball would land in the feet of opposing player. But out of nowhere, someone else kicked the ball while the ball was still rolling. The person who kicked the ball was none other than Hiro. The moment he passed the ball to Sato, he had already begun running. Outside the stadium, two individuals were rushing towards the stadium in a hurry. "Look, we're already late for his match," Hiro's mother pouted. Hiro's father checked his watch and it was only 12:16 p.m. "We're only 1 minute late. Hiro told me the match would start at 12:15. Takashi replied. "Huh? He told you about the match? Was I the only one who was kept in the dark? And who even needs a beer in a kid's game?" Her face started to turn red as she released the accumulated anger inside her. Goal. With lightning speed, the ball landed on the upper right corner of the goalpost. At 1 minute and 57 seconds, Hiro scored the opening goal in the second match of Group A. It hadn't even been 2 minutes since the start of the match and yet he already scored a goal. Within 2 minutes, Ukami Elementary School have opened the scoresheet. And they've opened the scoresheet in a style of their own. The keeper couldn't even react and the looks on the faces of Public Youth Elementary School's players says everything about that goal from the number 10 of Ukami Elementary School. It was simply fabulous. "Shish. I think I heard something right now." Takashi tried to silence his wife. Yeah, now you're making things because you don't want to hear my voice." His mother raised her voice even more. "No, it's not like that. Just try listening once, I'm sure you'll hear it too." Just then the crowd burst out in cheers. The cheers of the crowd were so loud that it could be heard from the parking lot outside the stadium. After listening to the loud cheers coming from inside the stadium, Akashi and Momo rushed towards the stadium in a hurry. As they entered the stadium, they witnessed something extraordinary. The atmosphere around the stadium was extremely lively. "Honey, are kids' game this popular?" His mother bewilderingly questioned upon witnessing the sights of huge number of spectators in the stand. "As much as I know, there shouldn't be this much spectator for a kids' game." Takashi mumbled in awe. "Perhaps we may have accidentally entered the wrong venue." Takashi mumbled. "But the score sheet says Ukami Elementary School and Public Youth Elementary School." Momo pointed towards the score sheet. "Indeed it does." Takashi nodded his head. "But where is Hiro?" his mother questioned. Takashi began to look for his son in the pitch. Far in the right corner, he noticed someone who resembled his son. "Isn't that Hiro?" He pointed his finger at Hiro. "It is indeed Hiro. But what is he doing? I think he's celebrating." As he scored the goal, he performed the trademark celebration of Christian Romero, the Saiu celebration. The reason why he performed that celebration was because of Akashi. While he and Akashi were talking with each other, Akashi jokingly asked him to perform the trademark celebration of his favorite player. I think he scored a goal. Since they were in the opposite corner, they couldn't see him well. And surprisingly they happened to walk in the stands where the supporter of opponent teams were seated. He scored a goal. But why are these people not celebrating his goal? His mother questioned. As she mentioned about the celebration, the people around them gave them cold stares. Their icy cold gaze sent shiver down Takashi's body. "Honey, it's better to keep your mouth shut for a while. Let's head over to some other seat." Takashi pushed Momo and began to walk towards the seat where the cheers were louder. "Why are you pushing me?" "Shish. They're not celebrating the goal because they are the supporters of the opponent team. So we should head towards the seat with supporters of our team." Akashi whispered softly. The game resumed with a score of 1-0. The opponent team continued to play defensive football. And Hiro continued to toy with their defense. While most of the supporters were thoroughly entertained by his gameplay, the supporters from Public Youth Elementary School didn't seem to enjoy his gameplay. Just few minutes after scoring his first goal, he scored another goal. And at the 30th minute of the game, he assisted a wonderful goal to Kuro. There's simply no stopping to Ukami Elementary School. And there's simply no stopping to number 10 of Ukami Elementary School. He toyed with the players of Public Youth Elementary School as if he was playing against kids. I mean they are kids and he himself is a kid too. Ha 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 ha. Just what is the coach doing? Just mark that number 10 kid. Even his supporters could see clearly that number 10 is the real threat from Ukami Elementary School. The supporters of Public Youth Elementary School started to vent their anger and frustration. Even though it was a kid's game, The supporters of Public Youth Elementary School were extremely frustrated to see their side losing 3-0 before halftime. Just who is that number 10 kid? One of the supporter of Ukami Elementary School who was seated next to Takashi mumbled. He's my son Takahashi Hiro. Takashi proudly exclaimed with his chest stretched out. He's your son, but he doesn't look anything like you. The supporter bewilderingly questioned. Cough, cough. Well, because he takes after his mother more. Takashi exclaimed nervously. The supporter didn't reply anything at all and looked at him with eyes full of doubt. He was clearly doubting his claim. Takashi then pulled out his wife and exclaimed, "Do you still not believe me?" The supporter took a peek at his mother. However, the expression on his face said otherwise. He was mesmerized by his mother's beauty. Yo, she's my wife, so don't you dare think anything weird. And also you better drop that expression of your face before you get punched by her. I'll warn you, she's a black belt in karate. Hearing that she was a black belt in karate, he quickly took his gaze away from her. Now that you mention about it, he does look like your son. He exclaimed in a flustered tone and finally agreed to Takashi. While the first half was already disappointing for Public Youth Elementary School, the second half was even more devastating. They conceded 4 more goals in the second half and lost the game with a combined score of 7-0. Beep. And the referee has blown his whistle. In the beginning of the match, I mentioned about the clash between defense and offense. And the offense has come out victorious after crushing the defense with a humiliating score of 7-0. The looks on Public Youth Elementary School's players doesn't look very good. However, these kids have shown their absolute best, so I request everyone in the crowd to cheer them up as they walk down the aisle. Yeah, you all have played really well. Well played. Clap, clap, clap. The supporters from the stand started to cheer for the players of Public Youth Elementary School even after losing the match. As mentioned by the commentator, the players from the Public Youth Elementary School really gave their absolute best against Ukami Elementary School. However, one single player completely obliterated their whole tactics all by himself. What an amazing performance by Ukami Elementary School, but I'm sure that they wouldn't have been able to dominate the match like they did, if it weren't for the number 10 of Ukami Elementary School. Goals, assists, dribbles, just name it, he's got everything. He himself scored 5 goals in a single match and provided 2 assists on top of that. He was involved in all 7 goals of the Ukami Elementary School. Shinji Shoyo from Karasuno Elementary School showed us a brilliant performance a moment ago, and now Takahashi Hiro from Ukami Elementary School showed us another brilliant performance. I just can't wait to see the clash between Karasuno Elementary School and Ukami Elementary School 3 days from today. Even though Karasuno Elementary School are considered one of the favorites of the tournament, it wouldn't be easy for them to get past against Ukami Elementary School. If they've got a little giant in their team, then Ukami Elementary School's got a combination of Messi and Romero of their own in their team. You really hit that Sue celebration. I thought that you didn't like Romero. Akashi exclaimed as Hiro approached him after the end of the match. Who said that I don't like Romero? Hiro bewilderingly questioned Akashi. Well, you support Barcelona, so I thought you hated Real Madrid. So I naturally assumed that you didn't like Romero as well. Well, just because I support Barcelona doesn't mean that I hate Madrid, and I very much enjoy seeing him play. Why would I hate such a great player? And as an upcoming player myself, I don't want to limit myself with only one playstyle. Hiro exclaimed. While he was celebrating with his teammates, he caught a sight of someone familiar in the stand. While looking at them, he raised his fist and pointed it towards them with a smile on his face. The person to whom he pointed his fist was none other than Takashi and Momo. Takashi returned back the gesture by raising his fist towards him. He couldn't look more proud. He was brimming with proudness. He's really your son. The same spectator who didn't believe his words earlier exclaimed. Obviously he's my son. He spoke with a grin on his face. Just as the players of Ukami Elementary School were exiting the stadium, they were greeted with the sights of groups of local reporters who were waiting for them outside the stadium. Did a celebrity show up? Hiro bewilderingly questioned. Yeah, and you're that celebrity. Don't you all agree? Ha ha ha. Takashi chuckled. The rest of the teammates nodded their head in agreement as they let out a cheerful laugh in unison. Yeah. If scoring 5 goals in some kids' tournament is gonna make somebody a celebrity, then there'd be a celebrity in every stadium. Hiro replied. Well, first up all, let alone scoring 5 goals, scoring a single goal is also very difficult. And they're probably not here because of some kids' tournament. It's because of your YouTube channel. Akashi exclaimed. My YouTube channel? Hiro bewilderingly questioned. Did you not check your channel before coming to the school? Akashi inquired. Well, I only posted my video yesterday, so what difference would it even make? Upon hearing the words of Hiro, Akashi pulled his phone out and began to type something. See here, isn't this you? Akashi started to play the video of Hiro which he posted on the YouTube. Well yeah, it's me. So what about my video? Look at the views. Akashi replied. As he turned his gaze towards the total views, he began to count. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. What? 547,000 views. Hiro's eyes widened in shock and his jaws dropped. He couldn't believe the figure he witnessed. There was 547,000 views in his video in less than 24 hours. The first ever video he posted in his YouTube channel went viral in less than 24 hours of posting. Am I dreaming? Hiro questioned. Ouch, Akashi pinched him all of a sudden. Why did you do that? Hiro exasperated. Ha ha ha. I thought that you needed some help. Akashi chuckled. Soccer wizard? Soccer wizard? Can you spare some time for a short interview? The reporters flocked over him with camera and microphones facing towards him. All of a sudden he found himself in the limelight. He couldn't reply anything. Even though he was a 27-year-old from the inside, he had never faced such situations even in his previous life. For his whole life, he lived like somebody who was ostracized by the society. In his previous life, he was just an extra player in the field without anything exceptional. Thus he couldn't react properly upon receiving the spotlight all of a sudden. Upon getting swarmed up by the reporters, he started to get anxious. He started to sweat profusely and began to have nervous breakdown. Receiving the spotlight all of a sudden, he started to have anxiety attacks. Could you all please move those cameras and microphones away from him? He's still a child. Takashi came to his rescue. Upon seeing his father, he could finally feel at ease. However, Takashi couldn't handle the reporters properly as they still forced their way towards him. Y'all just leave my son alone before I break your camera and microphones. His mother came to their rescue as the situation seemed like it was getting out of hands. After listening to the threat of his mother, the reporters began to back down. Thank you for your understanding, and if you'd like to interview him, kindly book an appointment with his agent first. His mother exclaimed. Who's my agent? Did the school provide me with an agent? Hiro was baffled by the claims of his agent. Our channel would like to interview him, so ma'am, would you kindly tell us the number of his agent so that we can talk business? One of the female reporters stepped forward while asking for the contact information of his agent. Yes. Why not? She then began to provide them with the contact information of his agent. Having been curious of his agent, he paid utmost attention to his mother's words. While he was keenly listening to his mother's words, the number which she provided the reporters felt a little too familiar to him. Isn't that mom's phone number? My mother is my agent? Hiro was shocked to find out that his mother was acting as his agent. I'm sure she made this agent stuff out of nowhere. She must have smelled the smell of money. Hiro mumbled with a blank look on his face. He then took a peek at his father's face. He had the same dumbfounded expression. There was something written all over his face. Seriously, that was the word written all over his face. Just like him, his father was left dumbfounded by her words. But seriously, what should I do with my social anxiety? Now that my video has gone viral, I'll face even more reporters as time progresses. I need to build up my confidence and prepare myself thoroughly for the future. His eyes glowed with determination. Let's go, Mr. Popular. Akashi exclaimed as the reporters cleared a path for them. After that, they boarded the school bus and left for school, while Takashi and Momo headed home. He couldn't leave with his mother and father as they needed to analyze the game of Karasuno Elementary School. Since they'll be facing against Karasuno Elementary School in the round of 16, they needed to prepare well. After all, Karasuno Elementary School was one of the favorites to win the tournament, and they couldn't face against them half-heartedly. If they wanted to win the match, they were required to thoroughly prepare for the match. While they were heading towards school, the coach of Karasuno Elementary School gathered his players in a dark room. Why are we gathered in the video analyzing room, coach? One of the players of Karasuno Elementary School inquired. To analyze our next opponent, Ukami Elementary School. The coach of Karasuno Elementary School exclaimed. Ukami Elementary School? Never heard of it. Ha 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 ha. The players of Karasuno Elementary School burst out in laughter as the coach of the Karasuno Elementary School mentioned the name of Ukami Elementary School. While every player in the video analyzing room of Karasuno Elementary School were making fun of Ukami Elementary School, there was a single player in the room who didn't show any interest in his teammates' mockery, seated with his legs crossed in the far left corner of the room all by himself. Unlike his fellow teammates, he didn't let out a single laughter. Ha ha ha. Just sent us to the damn final already. Nobody except Rondon Elementary School can take us. Don't you agree, Shoyo? One of the players of Karasuno Elementary School arrogantly stated. The silent person who was seated at the far left corner of the room was none other than Shinji Shoyo. Just like Hiro, Shoyo was considered a prodigy by the coaches of Karasuno Elementary School, and even though he was at his 4th year of elementary school, it was his first tournament. Because of his medical condition, his parents took him to US for treatment. One day, during his first year of elementary school while playing football, he suddenly collapsed. Upon witnessing his collapse, the staff members rushed towards him and took him to the nurse. The nurse tried everything in her knowledge but he couldn't regain his senses. Fearing that something serious might have happened to him, the faculty members informed his parents. Upon hearing the condition of their son, his parents rushed towards the school and took him to the hospital. As the doctor started to run some tests on him, it was known that there was a tumor growing in his head. He was suffering from brain tumor. Due to the unusual location of the tumor and lack of the technology required for the surgery to remove the tumor, the doctor in the hospital raised their hands up and suggested his parents to take him to US for further medical treatment. His parents burst out in tears after hearing the words of doctor. His father, who used to own large corporations, took him to US for further treatment. Since money wasn't a problem for his family, he got the necessary treatment in reputed hospital of US. The surgery went well and the doctors in the US successfully removed the tumor from his head. However, he stayed back in US for further treatment and recovery. After recovering enough and spending nearly 2 years in US, he returned back to Japan with his mother. His father couldn't stay by his side all the time because of his business and left after a while. His mother stayed back in US with him and took care of him. And finally, after recovering completely, he started to play football once again. Even though he couldn't play football for almost 3 years, he still regained back his skills within some months because of his talent. Slam. Silence. Now I'm going to play the video of the match between Ukami Elementary School and Public Youth Elementary School, so everybody pay attention now. The coach slammed the table in front and yelled at his players to quiet down. All of the players instantly shut their mouth as they heard the roar of their coach. And you Shota, sit down. The coach ordered the player standing beside Shinji Shoyo to sit down. The smile on his face quickly faded away as he heard his coach's yell, and without uttering a single word, he pulled his chair forward and sat down quietly. The coach then started to play the video of the match between Ukami Elementary School and Public Youth Elementary School. What? They all dropped deep from the beginning of the match. Are they going to play a defensive game for the entirety of the match? One of the player inquired. Now pay attention to that number 10 who's taking the ball forward. The coach paused the video just at the moment when Hiro was charging the ball forward. What's so special about him? Yeah, I don't see anything special in him. However, their keeper is ridiculously small. Ha 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 ha. The players of Karasuno Elementary School whispered between themselves while making fun of Endo's height. Even though they didn't show their true feelings up front, it was clear that they were still taking Ukami Elementary School very lightly. Huh, seriously? What the hell was that? He dribbled past all those defenders all by himself and scored a ridiculous goal too. All of their eyes widened in shock. They couldn't believe the fabulous goal scored by Hiro. Shush. Quiet down. Let's watch the whole footage first. And at the end of the video, I want everybody to present me with their analysis. Also, for the entirety of the match, pay a close attention towards that number 10 of Ukami Elementary School. The coach exclaimed as he paused the video. At the end of the video, the looks on the face of every player completely changed. At the beginning of the analysis, they were all arrogant and cheerful. But at the end of the video, all that was left was the feeling of hopelessness. Even after the end of the video, nobody dared to utter a single word. The room was unusually silent. Meanwhile, in Hiro's house, his parents were having a heated discussion between themselves. I never thought that Hiro was interested in NewTube. Takashi exclaimed in disbelief. Yeah, me too. I thought that he was only interested in football. Momo replied. Also, what did you talk about with the reporters? Takashi questioned. Nothing much. They wanted to interview Hiro, so I just gave them my contact information. Ring. 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 Just then, Momo's phone started to ring. Wait. Let me pick up this call. Hello, Mrs. Takahashi speaking. She picked up the call. Hello, Mrs. Takahashi, I'm Suzume, the female reporter from before who spoke with you regarding the contact information of Takahashi Hiro's agent. The reporter from before introduced herself. Oh hello, Suzume-san, how can I help you? I was wondering about if we could interview Hiro tomorrow? The reporter expressed that she wanted to interview Hiro. Momo hesitated to reply. She began to think of excuses to turn down her proposal. Just then the reporter spoke something which caught her attention. Obviously we'll pay for the interview, so would you like to discuss about the payment? As soon as she heard about money, she couldn't retain back herself from agreeing to her proposal. Where will the interview take place? Momo replied with a smile on her face. We'll perform the interview at the school, but will the principal agree? Momo questioned. You don't have to worry about that, ma'am. We'll take care of it. If you say so, then it's okay. Now then, shall we talk about money? She exclaimed with a wry smile in her face. What's with her obsession with money? Takashi thought as he witnessed her cunning grin. Meanwhile in school, Hiro was fiddling around with his phone while being seated at the middle row of the auditorium. Sigh. While looking at his phone, he revealed a deep sigh. He looked extremely troubled, as if something was gnawing on him. Seeing his troubled expression, Akashi approached him. What's the matter with you now? Akashi was concerned about his well-being. It's nothing. Hiro tried to shrug him off, however Akashi kept on pestering him. Is it about your YouTube channel? Akashi questioned as he noticed the sight of Hiro's channel in his phone. Yeah. Now that I've got 70k subscriber in less than 24 hours and gained 580k views, I can monetize my channel. Hiro exclaimed. Isn't that a good thing? But why do you look troubled instead? Akashi bewilderingly questioned. I haven't told my parents about my YouTube channel, and I'm still a child, so I can't even monetize the channel. And if I want to monetize my channel, then I'll need to ask one of my parents to handle the channel. Then just ask your parent. You don't know my mom. If she finds out that I'm making YouTube videos instead of studying, she will simply bake me alive. He started to turn pale as he began to imagine different scenarios of revealing the presence of his YouTube channel to his mom. Just then, Coach Miura made his way towards the auditorium with assistant coach Honda accompanying him. Honda-san was carrying a remote in his hands. Chatter. Chatter. Silence everybody. Now we'll be analyzing the match of Karasuno Elementary School. I'm sure that you've already watched their match in the stadium while they were playing. But now we'll thoroughly analyze their weaknesses and strengths so that we can prepare well against them. Coach Miura exclaimed and gestured Honda-san to start the video. However, unlike the players of Karasuno Elementary School who mocked their opponents even before the start of the match, the players of Ukami Elementary School were serious about winning against Karasuno Elementary School. If it were before the arrival of Hiro, the atmosphere around Ukami Elementary School might have been different. Let alone win against Karasuno Elementary School, they would be whining and cursing their fate for being placed in the same group as Karasuno Elementary School. Which they did previously when it was announced that they were placed in the same group as Karasuno Elementary School. But after their first win against Public Youth Elementary School, their mindset had totally changed. After thoroughly analyzing the footage of the match of Karasuno Elementary School, Coach Miura dismissed the meeting. One by one everybody started to head home. However, Hiro couldn't leave for home immediately as he would have to still wait for his parents to pick him up. And thus, after bidding his goodbye to Akashi and while everybody started to head home, he started to walk towards the pitch. Where are you going, Hiro? Honda-san called out for him. I'm going to the pitch. Since I'll have to wait for my parents to show up, I wanted to kill some time by kicking the ball on the field. Hiro exclaimed. You don't have to do that today. I already informed your parents before the start of the meeting and they should already be here. So go home. Honda-san gave him a gentle push. As mentioned by Honda-san, he found his father waiting for him outside the entrance. Usually it would be his mother who'd pick him up. But surprisingly it was his father today, who came to pick him up. Dad, you're here, Hiro exclaimed as he approached his father. Yeah. Your mom's kinda busy with something today, so I'm here in her stead. By the way, you played really well today. Takashi praised him for his earlier performance. Now then, shall we head home? Hiro nodded his head as they left for the train station. While they were inside the train, they talked about his earlier performance. Takashi couldn't look more proud of his achievements. "Where are you going, Dad? Our home is in other direction." Hiro pointed towards the path to their home as Takashi took the wrong turn. "I know, just follow me for a while," Takashi exclaimed. After that, Takashi took him to a sports store. "Dad, why are we here?" Hiro was baffled by his father's unusual behavior. "Go and pick the cleats you like," Takashi nonchalantly exclaimed. In disbelief, Hiro took a peek at his father's face. However, he looked really calm and composed. He meant what he said and he wasn't joking about buying him new cleats. "Thank you, Dad." He stormed inside the store after thanking his father. He got himself a pair of classic Adidas Predator boots in red color with black stripes. The boot was quite expensive and costed his father about 28,000 yen, roughly $200. If it were any other time, he would have complained about the price of the boot, but since today was a special occasion, he didn't hesitate to buy him the cleats which he selected. While on his way to home, he and his father talked about a lot of things. He felt closer to his father at that moment than he did in his whole life in his previous life. "Don't tell your mother about the price of the boot. If she finds out that I bought you such an expensive boot, she'll cut my pocket money for an entire month." Takashi exclaimed with a worried expression. "Don't worry, Dad. I won't tell her, Dad." After listening to the words of his son, Takashi chuckled. Just then, as he took a peek at his son, his smile faded away. "You've matured way too early in your life. Sometimes when I talk to you, I feel like I'm talking with a grown-up adult person. Maybe it's because of your useless father. You were forced to mature so early in your life. If only I could provide you with the things you desired." Takashi whispered softly. Takashi was very well aware of his son's abilities and he wanted to send his son to the academies in Europe to help him improve. But that would have costed him a lot of money and he roughly earned about $800 a month. However, due to the unusual silence around them, he could hear him clearly. His heart felt heavy upon listening to his father's words, but he didn't speak anything and pretended as if he didn't hear anything at all. Even though he was a 27-year-old from inside, he couldn't find the right words to console his father and thus, he decided to keep his mouth shut. By the time they reached their home, the sun had already settled down. While there were still some light coming from the far-off horizon, the sky was getting darker. Shades of blue and black mixed together to form a beautiful scenery in the sky above. Sniff. Sniff. Something smells really nice. Hiro began to sniff around as he smelled something fragrant coming from inside his house. "Oh, you're here. Welcome back," his mother greeted them both as they entered the house. "Mom, what are we having for dinner?" Hiro enthusiastically questioned as soon as he entered his house. The house he lived in was a traditionally built Japanese-style house called Manga. The house was made up of woods and consisted 2 floors. The bottom floor contained 2 spacious large rooms, while the upper floor contained 3 small rooms. Even though their house was pretty small, it contained a small yard in front. "You'll know once you see for yourself," she chuckled. "Now go freshen up and change your clothes." As he took off his shoes, he ran towards his room in a hurry. He didn't even arrange his shoes properly, he simply tossed them aside as he ran towards his room in a hurry. "Put your shoes in the shoe rack," his mother yelled as she began to collect his tossed-aside shoes. Takashi remained frozen in front of the door with a cheerful smile on his face. "Now should I send you an invitation separately?" His mother looked at his father with her icy cold gaze. Seeing her gaze, the smile on his face faded away. He then took his shoes off and obediently put them in the rack. "Whoa! It's fried chicken for dinner today," Hiro exclaimed in awe. Hiro was a fan of fried chicken. Mostly they would have steamed white rice, boiled veggies and fish for dinner. As she considered fried foods unhealthy, she wouldn't let them feast on anything fried in oil. And only in rare occasions she would cook fried foods. After leaving separately from his mother in his previous life, he had to survive on fast foods, and that was the time when he discovered his love for fried chicken. "Yeah, since it's a special occasion today, so eat as much as you want," she exclaimed in ecstasy. "But what's this special occasion you both keep mentioning about?" Hiro bewilderingly questioned as he pulled a chair and sat down. "You're getting interviewed tomorrow." Cough, cough. As soon as he heard about the interview, he choked on his food. "Easy. Easy." Takashi stroked his back gently and provided him water. Chatter. Chatter. A huge commotion was taking place at the football ground of Ukami Elementary School. Students were flocking all over the ground and storming towards the already packed football ground to become a part of the commotion. What's happening over there? One of the students pointed at the huge crowd of students gathered beside the football ground. I'm not sure about it, but a lot of people are standing over there holding cameras and microphones. Another student replied. A little bit to the right. Move the camera a little bit to the right. One middle-aged man who was dressed in a polo t-shirt and wearing a baseball cap was giving introduction to the camera crew. Just then principal of Ukami Elementary School, Miyamoto Takumi, made his appearance in the pitch, dressed in a black suit. Hello Mr. Miyamoto, it's my pleasure to meet you. The middle-aged man stretched his hands forward to shake hands with the principal. Hello Mr. Suzuki. The pleasure is all mine. The principal grabbed his hand and performed a handshake. First up all, I'd like to thank you for letting us interview your star player, and I must say, you've recruited quite a capable player for the nationals in your team. Indeed, he's such an amazing player. But it's not me who scouted him, it's all thanks to the scout of our football team Sakamoto-san for scouting such an amazing player that we're able to recruit such an amazing player in our team. The principal proudly exclaimed with a smile on his face. He couldn't look more happy. While those two men were cheerfully conversing with each other, Hiro made his way towards the pitch in his new Adidas Predator boots. He staggeringly walked towards the pitch and seemed kinda nervous. Oh look! There's our main character for the show. Suzuki-san exclaimed while pointing his finger towards Hiro. Just then another man shouted, Sir, we're all set to go. Okay, wait for a bit, I'll be there in a moment. Now then, will you excuse me for a while, Miyamoto-san? Suzuki-san hurriedly walked towards Hiro. Hello Hiro. How are you? Oh hello Mr. Suzuki, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Hiro greeted him back. But your face says otherwise. Yeah. Honestly speaking, I'm kinda nervous. Don't worry Hiro. We'll do it just like we've practiced early in the morning. Hiro had skipped a few classes early in the morning to rehearse for the interview. After conversing for a while, both of them headed towards the location where the interview was going to take place. At first they interviewed the principal of the Ukami Elementary School, followed by Coach Miura, and finally after interviewing both of them, it was his turn to get interviewed. It's your turn now. Don't be nervous and speak as casually as you can. If something goes wrong, we'll just redo it again. So don't stress over the interview. Best of luck. Suzuki-san tried to console him. Only if I could focus well on the interview, I wouldn't be so nervous. Oh yeah. Why did I forget that I have a system and I have a perfect skill for a time like this? Due to nervousness, he completely forgot about the presence of the system. System. Activate skill focuses, skill. Focus, activated. With the activation of the skill, he could no longer hear the noise coming from the crowds. He could focus better at the interview up front and negate the feeling of nervousness. What? All of a sudden, he looks totally different now. There's not even a faint sign of nervousness within him. It vanished as if it wasn't even there in the first place. Suzuki-san whispered in awe. Action. With that, the host Suzume-san started to interview him. Even though she was a reporter, she also hosted several reality shows for her channel. Hello everyone, it's me Suzume, your host for the show Neighborhood Celebrity. Today I'm here in the field of Ukami Elementary School. It's a pretty new school, so many of you may not have heard about it. But I'm sure a lot of you people have heard about the name Soccer Wizard. Yes. That's right, it's the same Soccer Wizard who have amassed a staggering 80k subscriber within less than 24 hours of posting his first video. The same Soccer Wizard who shocked the whole world with his soccer skills. Now without any further ado, let's welcome our very own Soccer Wizard, Takahashi Hiro. As the announcer finished the introduction part, Hiro made his way towards the pitch while juggling the ball in his feet. That wasn't a part of the script, Suzuki-san exclaimed in awe. He was the producer of the show, Neighborhood Celebrity. What should we do, Suzuki-san? That wasn't in the part of the script. The director whispered. Let him continue. While the filming continued, Hiro started to demonstrate his skills. Without dropping the ball, he performed around the world not once but 3 times in a row. While he was demonstrating his skills with the ball, the crowds burst out in cheers and the atmosphere around the ground started to get more intense. The director didn't want to miss the intense reaction of the crowds and he filmed the whole reaction of the crowds. Finally, after demonstrating multiple skills with the ball, he kicked the ball super hard and sent it flying in the sky. The ball flew about 50 meters up in the sky and it stayed in the air for about 6 seconds. After attaining the maximum height, it began to drop with rapid velocity due to the gravity. And as it was about to land, he stretched his legs a little forward and controlled the ball with a brilliant first touch. Whole crowds burst out in cheers upon seeing him control the ball. Everybody were mesmerized by the skills he displayed. Whoa! Is he even a 6-year-old kid? What were you doing when you were 6 years? Do let me know in the comments. For me, I was probably playing house when I was 6 years. The interview took place for a while, and occasionally they asked him to demonstrate more skills. He reluctantly agreed to their request and performed as they desired. However, Suzume-san got too full of herself and began to ask him to perform even more tricks with the ball. Even so, he reluctantly agreed to her request and kept on entertaining the crowds. However, the effect of the skill focus had already weared off. Somehow he was still maintaining his composure even without the skill focus. Many of you may not know this, but yesterday our soccer wizard scored 5 goals in the first match of the Nationals for Ukami Elementary School. And I'm sure many of you football enthusiasts might be familiar with this particular school team. Not only are they dominant in high school and middle school football tournament, they are also dominant in elementary school level football tournament. Yeah, I'm talking of none other than the powerhouse football team of Tokushima Prefecture, Karasuno Elementary School. And the day after tomorrow, the team of our soccer wizard will be playing against that powerhouse school-level football team, Karasuno Elementary School. As mentioned by the host of the show, Karasuno Elementary School were dominant in every levels of school football tournament in Tokushima Prefecture. Beside Karasuno Elementary School, they also had a middle school and a high school too. And in all 3 levels of school, their football teams were considered one of the powerhouse of the Tokushima Prefecture. Will you come to watch our soccer wizard play against the mighty Karasuno Elementary School? If yes, then do let me know in the comments. This is Suzume, your host for the show, Neighborhood Celebrity, speaking from the training ground of Ukami Elementary School. Thank you for watching. Finally, after almost an hour, the interview finally ended. Taking his performance and exhaustion into account, the school decided to let him take a day off, and such they called for his parents. However, both of them were busy with their works and they couldn't come to pick him up before the end of the school. Sorry, hero. Your parents are busy, so I'll have to send you back to the class. Just then, when Principal Miyamoto was about to send him back to the class because of the busy schedule of his parents, Suzuki-san volunteered to take care of him for the rest of the day. Why don't I take care of him for the rest of the day? I might need some help with editing, and I think his insights might prove useful to me. Suzuki-san exclaimed. I'll have to ask permission from his parents first, so give me a minute. The principal began to dial his mother's phone number. She says it's okay. The principal exclaimed. After his mother agreed to let Suzuki-san take care of him for the rest of the day, Suzuki-san took him to McDonald's to get him something to eat. He couldn't look more happy about it. After training relentlessly for the match against Karasuno Elementary School, it was finally the day of the face-off. Even though it was a weekday, a lot of spectators showed up for the match between Karasuno Elementary School and Ukami Elementary School. The atmosphere around the stadium was extremely vibrant. Most of the spectators were seen with their mobile phones and cameras in the stands. YouTubers were broadcasting the match in their channel while reporters were covering the match as well. Welcome to the round of 16 of the prefectural tournament. Today we have an interesting match between Ukami Elementary School and Karasuno Elementary School. And estimating by the number of the people in the stands, it seems that a lot of people have shown up for the match between Karasuno Elementary School and Ukami Elementary School. The commentator announced. Okay boys, for past few days we've been practicing really hard for this day. And it's finally the day of the face-off. Unlike the previous times, today I won't tell you anything. You all have practiced really hard and I know that you'll give your everything today. So go out there and show them what you've got. Coach Miura tried to raise the morale of the squad before sending them to the pitch. The players from both sides are making their way towards the pitch, so let's welcome them with loud cheers and applause. Woohoo! Karasuno! Ukami! The supporters from both sides began to chant the name of their respective teams. The supporters from both sides showed no signs of slowing down as the cheers from both sides only got more intense as time progressed. None of the sides were showing signs of backing down. The sky was crystal clear with no signs of rain clouds in the sky. The sun was shining brightly from early in the morning that day, and the day was extremely hot. Under the scorching sun, as the players from both sides made their way towards the pitch, the crowds burst out in cheers. Whoa! Are we in a World Cup match? Kuro exclaimed in awe upon witnessing the large number of people in the stands. The venue where the match between Karasuno Elementary School and Ukami Elementary School was taking place supported about 1,500 spectators at a time, and today the stadium was almost houseful. After making their way towards the pitch, both of the teams exchanged a friendly handshake, and the referee called out for the captains of both of the teams for the toss. From Ukami Elementary School, Endo stepped forward, while from Karasuno Elementary School, Shoyo stepped forward. Heads or tails? The referee inquired. You can pick first. Shoyo wanted Endo to pick first. Endo reluctantly agreed to his proposal and thanked him for letting him pick first. Tails, Endo exclaimed. Ha ha ha. Are we having Pokemon battle right now? One of the young spectator from the stand started to make fun of Endo and Shoyo for their short height. Endo and Shoyo, both of them had a very short height as compared to other players in the field. The referee then tossed the coin in the air, and as the coin landed on the ground, the outcome of the toss became known. The coin landed on heads and Endo lost the toss. Shoyo decided to pick the side they wanted to play and Ukami Elementary School was forced to start the kickoff. Beep. The match between Karasuno Elementary School and Ukami Elementary School has officially begun with the whistle of the referee. Previously, Ukami Elementary School played in a 4-4-2 diamond formation, but today they're changing their tactics and going for a 4-3-3 formation with Sato and Kuro as their winger and the Starman Hero as their center forward. However, there's no change in the formation of Karasuno Elementary School as they're playing in the same 4-3-2-1 formation as they did previously, with Shoyo acting as their sole forward. The game kicked off with Hiro's pass to Sato, and as soon as he got the ball, Sato began to press forward. Shoyo quickly caught up to him, making use of his explosive pace. As Shoyo got closer to him, Sato quickly passed the ball backwards. However, Shoyo didn't stop and continued to press towards the ball. The defenders of Ukami Elementary School continued to pass the ball between themselves and kept their positions. Upon seeing the players of Ukami Elementary School passing the ball in their own half, the offensive players of Karasuno Elementary School stepped forward and began to press for the ball. Karasuno Elementary School were playing hyper-pressing game from the start of the match, while Ukami Elementary School were casually passing the ball between themselves. Due to their hyper-pressing strategy, the players of Karasuno Elementary School were rapidly draining their stamina. However, by doing so, they were constantly creating pressure on the players of Ukami Elementary School. Their strategy consisted both the advantage and disadvantage. Due to the hyper-pressing strategy of Karasuno Elementary School, the players of Ukami Elementary School started to make mistakes as they started to mispass the ball. The mistakes only intensified as time progressed. At 17th minute of the game, due to the mistake of Kosei Atsuka, the defensive midfielder of Ukami Elementary School, Shoyo caught a loose ball in the center half of the pitch. As soon as he got the ball in his feet, he began to dribble the ball forward while making use of his lightning pace. It didn't take him more than few touches to showcase his skills. While the defenders of Ukami Elementary School blocked his shoot course, he surprised everybody in the stadium with his shot from outside the box. He performed a powerful shot from outside the box targeting the top right corner of the Ukami Elementary School's goalpost. Nobody expected him to make that kind of shot, and if it weren't for Endo, then they might have conceded a goal from that shot of Shoyo. Due to his short stature, Endo ran a few steps first and then lunged towards the ball. Instead of lunging sideways, he changed his angle a little bit in front and jumped at about 160 degrees. Endo barely managed to reach the ball and keep the ball away from the net. The ball bounced away as he saved the ball. Thud. Endo landed roughly on the ground while making that huge save. Loose ball. Endo shouted. The defenders of Ukami Elementary School were stunned by Endo's brilliant save that they didn't even notice the loose ball. Only after Endo shouted loose ball, did they actually came back to their senses and made their way towards the ball. That was an incredible stop from Endo. However, the ball is still in the bounds, and it looks like Shoyo will be the one to reach the ball before anyone else. However, it was too late for them as Shoyo was already chasing the ball even before the ball touched Endo's gloves, as if he was expecting for a rebound. Bounce. Bounce. The ball began to bounce away from the goalpost, and after few bounces, it rolled over at the left corner of the penalty box of the Ukami Elementary School. Because of his early run, Shoyo reached the ball before anybody else could reach. The defenders of Ukami Elementary School were still quite a distance away from Shoyo and Endo was still lying on the ground. With Endo lying on the floor, the post was quite open. However, the angle for shooting was also tight as well. Despite the unfavorable angle for making a shot, Shoyo still decided to go for a shot. He kicked the ball hard towards the goalpost. With Endo unprepared, there was simply no stopping to Shoyo's shot. As the ball was released from his legs, it flew directly towards the goalpost. The crowd stood up in anticipation. Go. Go. No, everybody thought that it would end up as goal, but as if by stroke of luck, the ball hit the upper right crossbar of the goalposts and bounced back. Unlucky Shoyo, he hit the crossbar. That was an impressive play from Shoyo. He's showing everybody why they need to be wary of him. You lose a sight of him even for a moment and he'll use that opportunity to score a goal against you. Luckily the ball bounced towards one of the defenders of Ukami Elementary School. And this time the defenders of Ukami Elementary School made no mistake. He quickly passed the ball towards Otsuka, the defensive midfielder of Ukami Elementary School. Otsuka wasted no time and quickly released the ball forward towards Kuon, one of the midfielder of Ukami Elementary School. Since most of the players of Karasuno Elementary School were in front of the goalpost of Ukami Elementary School, Ukami Elementary School had a chance to counterattack. And the players of Ukami Elementary School didn't waste any time as they began to charge the ball forward with lightning speed. Back! Get back! One of the players of Karasuno Elementary School shouted in desperation. The players of Karasuno Elementary School didn't waste any time and began to chase after the ball as well. As they began to fall back, the players of Ukami Elementary School found themselves in a 4 vs 7 situation. Against the 4 defenders of Karasuno Elementary School, there were 7 attackers of Ukami Elementary School rushing towards the goal. And even though the players of Karasuno Elementary School were falling back, it would have still taken them some time to position themselves. Kuon then released the ball towards Hiro, who had fallen back a little. As soon as the ball was released towards Hiro, 2 of the defenders of Karasuno Elementary School surrounded him, while the 2 more defenders maintained a certain distance away from him. Oh, so you've studied my plays. 2 defenders for the face-off and 2 defenders to cover the empty spaces. Not bad. Hiro mumbled as he stood before 2 defenders of Karasuno Elementary School. The defenders of Karasuno Elementary School were unusually wary of Hiro. But you're forgetting something. I'm not the only one in our team who can score a goal. Hiro easily dribbled past those 2 defenders and cheekily lofted the ball towards Kuro. The keeper of Karasuno Elementary School came forward to block his course. However, instead of shooting the ball, Kuro passed the ball towards Sato, who was not marked by any players of Karasuno Elementary School. Sato gently tapped the ball inside the net and scored a goal in an open post. Goal. What a beautiful team goal from Ukami Elementary School. From defenders to attackers, everybody was involved in that beautiful goal. At 18th minute of the game, Karasuno Elementary School conceded the first goal of the game as Ukami Elementary School opened up the scoresheet. Even after that goal, the players of Karasuno Elementary School didn't stop to press hard. As soon as they would lose positions, they'd quickly press for the ball. They were playing a gegenpressing style game. Even though that particular playstyle would take some more years to become known to the public, the players of Karasuno Elementary School were playing in that playstyle unknowingly. Beep. The first half ended with a single goal with Ukami Elementary School taking the lead. After that first goal, Karasuno Elementary School made countless attempts to draw the game. But their effort didn't amount to anything. After that mistake in the 17th minute of the game, the players of Ukami Elementary School had learnt their lessons. And thus, every time the ball landed on Shoyo's feet, they didn't give him any opportunity to move the ball forward. They began to man-mark him for the entirety of the first half. Second half wasn't any different as well. They began to mark Shoyo right from the starting of the second half. Getting marked all the time, Shoyo started to show signs of frustration and anger. However, at 47th minute of the match, he shook off his mark and broke free. Just as he was charging the ball forward, Yamazaki Kento, the center back of Karasuno Elementary School, stood in front of him blocking his course. What will you do now, Mr. I'm the star of Karasuno Elementary School. Can't take the ball forward. Kento began to provoke Shoyo and get on his mind. Kento, who was already 11 years old, didn't hold back against Shoyo. Aside from his sturdy build, he didn't have anything flashy. Even though he used to play as a forward previously, Coach Miura converted him to a defender. And even though he was still learning to become a defender, he was sloppy in defense. However, the coach of Ukami Elementary School still put him in the starting team because of his unique trait. His unique trait was to get inside the head of the opponent. Thus, because of that unique trait of his, he was more suited to become a defender. At first Shoyo tried to ignore his taunts, but eventually he gave out to his inner desire and lashed out at Kento because of earlier frustration from being marked all the time. Oh, what's this? Shoyo has gone out of control. he punched the defender of Ukami Elementary School in the face. Unable to control his anger, he jabbed Kento in his face in the middle of the match. Having been hit on his chin, Kento fainted immediately. Even with his sturdy body, he couldn't take on a blow that came out of nowhere. Beep. The referee blew his whistle and stopped the play. The players from both sides began to flock over the place where Kento fainted, and after that assault, the tension began to rise between both of the teams. The players from both sides began to push the players of opposite team, and just when a fight was about to break, security personnel who were the staff of the stadium were forced to intervene. With the help of the guards, a fight was prevented between the teams. Coach Miura rushed towards the pitch to check on Kento's condition. He began to check on his pulse. And as he began to check on his pulse, he found it still pulsating. Luckily, he only fainted and there was no serious damage done to him. After the commotion, the referee warned every player involved in the strife and ejected Shoyo from the game by giving him red card. Kento was deemed unfit to participate in the match any further and was substituted for Akashi. Ding! Congratulations for the host for completing the quest. A golden ticket has been granted as a reward for the completion of the quest. A notification from the system appeared as Akashi made his debut. Beep. The game continued with a free kick for Ukami Elementary School. Even though the commotion was settled down, the tension between the two teams were quite vivid even from the stands. For the next 13 minutes, Karasuno Elementary School played a very rough game, but without their star player, they were simply no match to Ukami Elementary School. They conceded 2 more goals in that remaining 13 minutes and went on to lose the game with a score of 3-0. And finally the match between Ukami Elementary School and Karasuno Elementary School ended with a score of 3-0 with Hiro scoring 2 goals in a matter of 5 minutes. While the players of Ukami Elementary School were cheerfully chanting their victory slogans and celebrating on the pitch, the players of Karasuno Elementary School were scattered on the ground with their faces contorted in disappointment. Most of the spectators in the stand couldn't believe the unexpected turn of events which unfolded before their eyes. The supporters of Karasuno Elementary School were still in daze while the supporters of Ukami Elementary School were full of laughter. They were celebrating as if they had already won the tournament. After a while, the referee gathered both the winning team and losing team for one last handshake. However, the players of Karasuno Elementary School didn't look one bit happy about shaking hands with the players of Ukami Elementary School. More than the pain of losing the match, they were demonstrating emotions of hatred in their face. Later in that day, Hiro was lying on his bed while scrolling his phone. Due to the live broadcast of several YouTubers, somehow the match had gained even more popularity on the internet. Several articles were published all over social media sites. As he was scrolling through his Facebook account, several videos of him popped up. Back then, when he created his YouTube account, he had created a Facebook account to promote his videos. The videos made him curious and he began to scroll through his videos. Since it was still an anonymous account which didn't even consisted a decent profile picture, he hadn't gained any popularity in his Facebook account. Soccer Wizard against the mighty Karasuno Elementary School. Soccer Wizard demonstrates his magic. I can't believe he scored a goal from that distance. Is that kid even a kid? Is it even a kid's match? Ace of Karasuno Elementary School lashed out at the player of Ukami Elementary School. Rising tension in the field, and so on. Several videos with such titles popped up all over his social media account. And almost every video had more than 50k views in it. He began to binge watch every videos related to the match. The overflowing support of the people amused him. Damn. I never thought that a kid's match could gain such a massive response from the people. Hiro mumbled in awe. Right, I still haven't checked my YouTube account. Shall we check on it? He then logged into his YouTube account to check on his account. He hadn't posted a single video after he posted his first video because of his busy schedule. Holy shit. 180k subscriber. 780k view? WTF, am I dreaming right now? His eyes widened in shock. He couldn't believe the ridiculous amount of subscribers in his YouTube channel. No wonder those reporters sought after me. Now that we mention about them, let's check out the video of the interview. After going through his YouTube account, he began to search for the video of his interview. I'm sure they called the show Neighborhood Celebrity. Holy shit. It gained more than 1 million views already? Once again, the ridiculous amount of views on the video which he was featured in shocked him. He then clicked on the video and began to watch the video. While the video was playing, he couldn't stop himself from smiling. He was constantly smiling while watching the video. Damn. I look so handsome. Ha 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 ha. He began to praise himself while laughing like a maniac. Yeah right. I still haven't monetized my video. I'll ask Dad for his bank details tomorrow and monetize it. Saying that, he turned off his off and put it inside the drawer and headed to sleep. Even after closing his eyes for more than 5 minutes, he couldn't sleep for some reason. Unable to sleep, he opened his eyes in state of delirium. Something felt amiss. Am I forgetting something? He wondered. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm forgetting about the golden ticket, he mumbled. System activate. As he mumbled, the blue panel of the system appeared in front of him. At first page, it showed his description. He scanned through his attributes but didn't notice any noticeable changes in it. At first my attributes increased quite fine, but now I can't seem to improve it, he mumbled in a muffled voice. The slow increase in his stats started to concern him. Previously his stats were increasing just fine by completing the daily quests. But now, even after completing his daily quests consistently, it wasn't increasing as compared to before. And thus, his stagnant growth started to concern him. Maybe it's because I'm not challenging myself enough. And tbh, the daily quests aren't even that challenging these days. But let's worry about that later. For now let's use our golden ticket. While his stagnant growth concerned him, at the moment he was more interested in his golden ticket. After all, golden ticket could grant him a random ability of any player. So he was excited to find out the talent he could copy. Roulette section. You have 1 golden ticket available. Would you like to use your golden ticket? Yes. As he confirmed the use of golden ticket, the roulette wheel began to spin. It spun for a while and landed on a random card. Congratulations for the host for obtaining the free kick of Roberto Carlos. Talent. Free kick of Roberto Carlos. Talent description. Can perform a free kick like Roberto Carlos and can be used for 3 times every single day. Holy shit. Free kick of Roberto Carlos. Roberto Carlos was a Brazilian defender who was best known for his speed, shooting power and free kicks. The iconic free kick he scored against France in 1997 was one of the most impressive free kicks humankind had ever witnessed. It was packed with explosive shot power. While he shot that free kick, the ball went so fast that the keeper of France's national team didn't even have a moment to react. Before he could come back to his senses, the ball was already inside the net. Damn. I gotta try it tomorrow against Endo. Ha 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 ha. He let out an evil grin in his face as he thought of testing his newfound talent against the keeper of Ukami Elementary School. Feeling all excited, he went to sleep. As usual, he arrived late for his classes. Thus, while on his way towards his classroom, he couldn't find even a single student outside the hallways. As he was about to enter his classroom, he found his classroom unusually silent. Just as he opened the door of his classroom, groups of students flocked over him. Soccer wizard. Hero, I watched your match yesterday. You played so well. You were so amazing. His classmates rushed towards him while singing his praises. They didn't give him even a moment to breathe. They squeezed him and began to ask ridiculous questions. Due to his busy schedule, he didn't attend most of the classes after he posted his video. And even the times when he attended classes, the teachers wouldn't let the students do as they wish. And he had also been skipping the classes due to football training. Thus nobody could have a word with him, even after attending the class. However, today was different. There was no teacher in the classroom. In absence of teacher, the students could talk as much as they wanted. Thus, the students of his class didn't waste the opportunity and flocked all over him to ask him for his autograph and converse with him. Without realizing, he had turned into Mr. Popular of his class. However, he still had trouble with dealing with crowds. Thus, he couldn't answer anything. He started to pray for someone to take him out of that precarious situation and save him. All of you get to your seats. As if the God had answered his prayers, the teacher arrived in the classroom and ordered everyone to be seated. With the arrival of teacher, everybody scattered and began to run towards their seats, leaving him alone. Thank you, sensei. He took a deep breath and thanked his teacher for taking him out of that precarious situation in a muffled voice. After taking few classes, the previous situation repeated itself as lunchtime arrived. His classmates flocked over him, once again. Just as he was about to faint, Akashi made his appearance. All of the students began to scatter with his appearance. Even though he didn't do anything, the students were terrified of his appearance. Thus, nobody dared to make a single noise in presence of Akashi. Once again he was saved. The classes went smooth afterwards because of the presence of a teacher in the classroom. Ding. Dong. Okay students, this much for today. Thank you teacher. The students thanked the teacher in unison, and just as the teacher exited the classroom, he grabbed his bag and stormed towards the pitch before his classmates could flock over him, once again. As he was tying his laces, he wondered if every day would be like that. The thoughts of facing that situation every day sent shiver down his spine and haunted him. He contorted his face while imagining the situation. God! Just save me from those little devils.